This map illustrates the baseline problem of 19th century maritime trade. To move a ship between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, a crew had to sail all the way around South America, navigating the hazardous waters near Cape Horn. That detour generated heavy logistical friction. It cost months of time, massive amounts of fuel, and steep insurance premiums. For a rising power like the United States, it also meant maintaining a divided navy, leaving fleets isolated on opposite sides of a continent. The Panama Canal was designed to turn geography into a strategic advantage. Cutting through the isthmus would remove nearly 8,000 nautical miles from the trip, connecting two oceans into a single operational theater. In geopolitics, speed and distance are never neutral. A shortcut saves money, saves time, and concentrates military leverage. That necessity made this narrow 80-kilometer strip of land one of the most desirable choke points on Earth. The United States did not wait for diplomatic permission to build it. When negotiations with Colombia stalled, Washington backed a Panamanian independence movement in 1903, parking U.S. warships off the coast to prevent Colombian forces from reasserting control. Days later, the newly independent Panama signed the Hay-Buno-Varilla Treaty. This agreement handed the United States sweeping sovereign rights over the future Canal Zone in perpetuity. This was a strategic takeover disguised as legal architecture. The canal was secured through hard power leverage because the passage was too important to leave to diplomatic uncertainty. The 1903 intervention proved that when an infrastructure asset is valuable enough to reshape global trade, major powers will prioritize control over established borders. The United States was not the first to try. In the 1880s, the French attempted to dig a sea-level canal. They were defeated by unstable terrain, heavy rains, and tropical diseases that devastated the workforce. This elevation diagram shows the shift in engineering strategy. Instead of forcing a sea-level trench through the mud, the Americans used a system of locks, lifting ships up to an artificial lake and lowering them back down on the other side. Realizing that vision required immense human endurance. Thousands of laborers died from yellow fever, malaria, and harsh conditions to complete the excavation. When the canal opened in 1914, the United States no longer had to maintain two isolated fleets. Naval forces could move between the Atlantic and Pacific in hours rather than months. This infrastructure performed two roles simultaneously. In peacetime, it accelerated global commerce. In a crisis, it operated as the primary tool of military leverage for a single empire. For the people of Panama, the Canal Zone was a national wound. A foreign power controlled the most valuable part of their territory, creating a decades-long struggle over dignity and sovereign rights. That tension led to the 1977 Torrijos-Carter treaties, mandating the gradual transfer of the waterway to Panama. Direct American administration ended, but the canal's strategic value remained unchanged. The ownership shifted while global reliance continued to grow. To maintain its position, Panama inaugurated an expansion in 2016. New, larger locks were built specifically to handle Neo-Panamax vessels, giants of modern maritime trade. Strategic infrastructure survives by staying useful. By adapting its dimensions to the scale of modern ships, the canal ensured the global economy would remain dependent on this single passage. The canal's primary modern threat is environmental. Its entire operation now depends on a steady supply of freshwater. The locks rely on gravity to move water from Gatun Lake. Every transit flushes millions of fresh water into the sea. Without enough rainfall to refill the lake, the system literally cannot function at capacity. Severe droughts have already forced the canal to restrict daily transits. As water levels drop, waiting times increase, and shipping firms are forced to pay steep premiums or reroute their cargo entirely. Because global trade is hyper-connected, a lack of rainfall in Central America creates delivery delays and economic pressure thousands of miles away. We built the Panama Canal to remove the friction of distance, but by funneling a massive percentage of world trade through a single corridor, we created a highly sensitive point of failure. For a century, states worried about rival nations controlling this choke point. Today, we have discovered that natural constraints can throttle global trade just as effectively as a blockade. The Panama Canal is a microcosm of the modern world. It proves that our greatest geopolitical vulnerability is the fragility of the very systems we built to make the world more efficient.